I enjoy that. If it's a fair fight.
There's there's one here for me. Woody, you seem okay with knowing where you live. Your family and your wealth, most people such wait, your family and your wealth, while most people such as Kyle and Taylor don't want that info out there. What makes you okay with everyone knowing a bunch of personal info about you? Um, well, to some part of it, I just feel like it's unavoidable. Like if there was a really private version of me on the internet, it would be totally uninteresting, right? Like, oh, this is only the things I'm willing to let you know. Like it. What's interesting about me, I feel like, is sort of a realness or a connectedness or whatever. If I were to hide most of me from you, you wouldn't be interested in the part I shared. So to some extent, it's unavoidable. I talk about what I'm excited about. Like, I remember when I was buying this house, I hadn't even made an offer, and people found it yet. People found out where I was going to go, just because like, if I didn't share the thing,
You described it too well on the show. I remember when you did it. I was like, oh, now you've done it.
Well, I also wasn't trying not to.
You described the fountain. I remember initially it was when you described the fountain on that previous house you were looking at. You're like, yeah, the long driveway, and then this, and that, and it's shaped like an L, and there's a fountain, and it's on an island, and I'm like, you've done it. You've done yourself in.
A bunch of sycophants on Google Earth frantically scrolling.
Yeah. But I wasn't like, I wasn't trying to make that not happen either. I wasn't trying to have a hidden location. I didn't do anything special to keep the house out of my name or things like that. It was just like, this is going to get out, because even if they don't know before I live here, I'm not going to do what Kyle does, for example, which is like stay in one location all the time. So no one can identify your house by what they're seeing right here. The view that I have into there is to me, I just feel like I have to have a view into my life to be interesting at all, and therefore stop trying to hide it.
I feel like one of the fears that I would have, one of the things that because if you're that open and outward with it, like if you ever go on one of those Disney cruises, everybody knows you're out of town. Yeah. Now everybody knows where you live, and we know not only like what guns you have, but where you keep them. And we know we'll know where the dogs are. Like it's weird being that open with people, especially in my case. Like I don't want anybody coming and robbing me of the, I've got a lot of expensive stuff, and it just kind of, there's lots of stuff. There's just stuff everywhere. The other thing is, don't want anybody messing with my family or annoying them or anything. And I just like my privacy, I wouldn't want to have somebody coming and bothering me. Like I like to be able to take a piss in my yard if I want to.
I feel like it would take a high level of effort for me to filter at a level that you do easily. You don't give clues about things you don't want people to know about, whereas I would let it slip.
Yeah,
well, that's part of the endearing nature of why your channel got successful in the first place, though, is because people liked feeling like they were almost on the trip with you. Like when you started trending up with the success, it was like people knew the family, so it was like, all right, like I'm following along. Like I feel like I'm more involved, even though like I'm really not. But like it's easier to get invested.
I feel like with like letting stuff slip, like there's a part of my brain where I can be like, okay, this information is classified, and it'll never slip in casual conversation ever. Like I can just kind of like put a mental highlighter on something, and it's like, oh yeah, like don't say that. That's a real giveaway about where you live or how you conceal where you live. And there are people who think that they have addresses that are tied to my name, and sure, there are addresses that are attached to me, but they're not the ones that I live at, or they're, it might be a place where I own some property. It might be somewhere where a family member owns some property. You might be able to look that up, but there's just no records of where my home is, and I've made sure of that.
I feel like my list of top secret stuff can't have that many items. I've got a couple that I've got in my head right now, but if I were to include like everything so that it wouldn't give away where I live, or I don't know, relationship stuff or whatever, if I were to filter that much, I don't know, I don't have that much room in my filter.
Yeah.
There's a couple top secret items in there.
Yeah, I like not being able to. Well, I used to. Did I mention that it seemed that someone had rummaged through my girlfriend's wallet in her car in the yard?
Oh, that's
you
creepy.
Did. I heard.
Yeah,
about that.
very very odd. So like, as always, I don't get too descriptive about where I live, but I have a long driveway. It's pretty nondescript, and once you get to the house, like it would be real difficult to get away without us watching you slowly do it. It's that kind of deal. But apparently, Kitty said that Dak was freaking out one night at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and she thought someone was outside. And I'm like, why didn't you come fucking tell me? And then my girlfriend was saying that she went outside and her wallet was sort of dissected, if you will, like in the front seat of her car. You know, everything pulled out and lying there. So nothing's stolen. And then, you know, in my truck, I've got like I got a handgun or two sitting there, and there's maybe $200 worth of cash sitting right there on the console, kind of wadded up and stuff. And, you know, there's stuff in there, but none of that's taken, so, which is bizarre. So I'm kind of half hesitant to even believe that anything happened, but I have taken steps to you know, deal with that. So I've got a way to notify me now if someone were to come in the yard, and I've got my weapon ready to roll. So we'll see.
I got a question. I like this one. I feel like this AMA is better than average. Now, there's a couple gems in here, but hey guys, does everyone